Hello and welcome to another video with me, Rauchenwald. Now it's been a while, but today we're going to talk again about a project that I mentioned in one of my recent videos. It's called TimeStope. Similar to Pi Network, B Network and other projects, it's an app that you can install on your phone to receive a cryptocurrency called Tau for free simply by pressing a button once per day. Now obviously if you know Pi Network, that sounds very familiar and you might be tempted to think that TimeStope is actually a knockoff or a copy of Pi Network, but it's not. If you want, you can check out my original review about TimeStope by clicking on the card up here, but you can also just watch this video to get what TimeStope is about and what kind of changes happened since I originally reviewed the app. One thing I want to mention straight away is that TimeStope is currently only available on Android, so the iOS version is not yet approved in the App Store, and usually, as you know from my other reviews, that would be a red flag for me. However, considering all the information and transparency that TimeStopes provides on their website, the fact that they're really not just a knockoff of another project but follow their own approach and own ideas, combined with their really fast response times and partially even their live chat availability on their website, I'm more than happy to ignore that one red flag in favor of all the other positive signs. As usual, so you know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put the TimeStope app up here and you can see my TimeStope home screen. Now don't get all excited about the high number of so-called fTime or flying time that you can see on the top, because that's unverified time. So it's time that I earned by using the app myself, plus for inviting new users to TimeStope. But only if users actually verify their accounts will I be able to do something that's called stoping and convert that time into usable coins or tokens within TimeStope. Now, if you're not familiar with TimeStope, I mentioned you have to push a button once per day, and within TimeStope you can do so when you click on the calendar icon, and it will show you a calendar, and if you haven't pushed the button today, you will see a stamp on top, and then you can press it and it will mark the calendar like this. Now every pink dot here means that I marked my attendance and got 2 points credited for doing so, increasing my so-called attendance score to overall 581 right now. If we go back in the calendar, you can actually see that there are gray dots here. Those are days where I forgot to push the button. On those days, I lost 3 points of my attendance score. Now, one crucial principle about TimeStope is that when you're starting out, you start with 100 points. And if you don't confirm your attendance, you lose 3 points. And if you reach 0, your account will be deactivated and you would have to create a new account. Only once your attendance score exceeds 200 points, it cannot fall below that amount anymore, which I personally consider is a great concept, because it means when people join the app and they lose interest after a week, their score will get to 0, their account will be deactivated and the coins will be burned. Therefore, it keeps the system clean of inactive users. However, if you sign up and for the first 50 days straight you confirm your attendance, you cross the 200 line threshold, you probably already developed the habit to check the app every day, and therefore your account will stay active. Now you also see a few orange dots here. Those are days where I received more than 2 points. Like for example, when you pass the KYC process, you receive 100 or 150, if I'm not mistaken, in attendance score and so on. The attendance score also serves another purpose because it regulates your stoping time, which I'm going to talk about later, and your transfer limits. So the higher your attendance score goes, the more coins you're allowed to transfer within 1 year. This should also make sure that only highly engaged users that are highly active within TimeStope actually are able to transfer more coins, and users that don't follow the project that actively may also use their coins but may run into transfer limits. One of the crucial points here is you can only start transferring your verified time once you finish the KYC process, and the KYC process within TimeStope is something that you will notice on the home screen. Here, the camera icon in the middle will then blink in a couple of colors and tell you to start the KYC verification. It works similar to other projects, but unlike, for example, Pi Network that uses Yoti as a third-party provider, the KYC verification within TimeStope actually is handled by a computer algorithm, and it requires you to do a few things. So it would open up your camera and you would first have to, for example, blink with your left eye, then blink with your right eye, open and close your mouth, and last but not least, actually scan your ID and a computer will process that data. For me, that was a very frustrating experience because there's a 5-second countdown, and for the first 30 minutes I assumed I have to do the action within those 5 seconds, when in fact after the 5 seconds is actually when you have to blink or open and close your mouth and so on. And I get that people might wonder why TimeStope might want you to blink with your left eye or blink with your right eye or do anything else in front of the camera. And the reason for that is because a computer handles the verification. And if there wouldn't be some kind of specific movement that the computer is looking for, then you could simply hold the picture of somebody else in front of the camera and pass the verification. That's why you'll have to make those movements. The computer analyzes the pictures and checks if there is that specific movement, and if it is there, it lets you proceed to the next step. The same then applies when you scan your ID. The computer pretty much tries to read the data from your ID and confirm that it matches the data that you entered in your profile, which shouldn't be too hard because, for example, every modern passport has computer readable code at the bottom, so the numbers and letters you see there that contain things like your birth date, your name, and so on, that allow the computer to verify that it matches what you entered within your profile. The next big question would be like, when will you get the chance to complete your KYC process? And the answer to that is once your attendance score exceeds 300 points. So again, it's about being active over a certain period of time, collecting attendance score, and once you exceed a certain point, you will get the chance to also complete the KYC process. And with that, you will be able to do the so-called stoping and start transferring your verified time, so so-called sTime, to other TimeStope users, which actually already gives TimeStope a value. And just in case you haven't watched my initial TimeStope review, which again is in the card up here, and you didn't read the white paper and you have no clue what TimeStope is, TimeStope aims to have a fixed value of $0.013 per coin or per tau, so 1.3 US dollar cents. Now they try to establish that value by using revenue from different projects along the way, and I'm fairly confident that they will actually manage to do so. Which is also the reason why within my TimeStope app you can also see a dollar amount below the fTime, so the flying time, the unverified time that I accumulated so far. With that, let's talk about stoping, what it is, why it is important, how you can do it, and so on. Stoping is pretty much the process of taking some of the fTime, so the time that you see at the top of the app, which is the flying time, so again, it's all the time I collected, and converting the verified time among it into sTime, which is the time that I can already use. And the verified time is the time that I collected myself, since I already passed the KYC process, plus the time from users that also already verified their accounts. Stoping also serves another purpose. If we go to the main menu and there go to my profile, you can see that there is something called the end time, which is currently the 11th of August 2023 for me. When you sign up, your initial stoping time is 2 years. So every day until that end date, you receive 24 tau. That's the unit in which TimeStope is measured. However, out of those 24 tau, a certain percentage goes to your witness, so the person that invited you, and you get to keep the rest of it. Now, obviously, if until that end time your attendance score reaches 0, you don't receive any more tau, your account gets deactivated and the game is over for you, and you would need to have to start over with a new account. However, if you stay active and you confirm your attendance, you will receive that amount of tau until you reach your end time. And by increasing your attendance score, you can actually extend that end time. Obviously, that brings up questions like, how is the supply of TimeStopes tau limited when people can extend their end time and keep getting more and more tau? Will the mining or the allocation of tau ever stop, or can users sign up in 10 years from now as well and still get tau? And if so, how will TimeStope ensure that they stay at 1.3 cents per tau in value for their cryptocurrency? And I understand that some people may be worried by that aspect and that I'm not able to answer those questions right now, but personally, considering all the progress that TimeStope already made, I have relatively little doubt that the project will succeed, become a full cryptocurrency, and will have a value. And I honestly don't care if that value is the fixed 1.3 cents that they're aiming for, or if it's less or if it's more, because I get tau for free for just pressing a button once per day. So there's literally nothing to lose here for me. I also get that people are going to be worried about the KYC process and the scanning of their ID and so on, but all I can say here is that currently TimeStope uses a computer algorithm for the process, so your data should be fairly secure because no human being sees it. And they're working on something called the KYC direct process, where verified users or selected verified users will be able to verify the identity of other users. I don't have any details about it either right now, but personally I prefer the algorithm-based or computer-based verification over having random people see my ID or some of my personal data in order to verify my account. Anyway, I'm fairly confident that in the future we'll also have better answers to those questions and to the data security aspect here. With that, let's go back to stoping. We know now what stoping is. The big question is how it works. So for you within the TimeStope app, you could go back to the home screen and then go to the wallet icon, and there you have your stoping section. And that's pretty much all it takes. You can see I already stoped a couple of times, so that's why my button here is grayed out and it says I can stope again on the 18th of March. Until then, I cannot stope. For you, if you haven't stoped so far, this button will be blue. You can just press it and then it takes a couple of hours, maybe a day, and you will see your first coins credited. So you will get sTime, which will be removed from your flying time, so the time that's unverified, and which you can then use by just going back. Again, we're in the wallet section and you can click on sTime. And here you can see that you could just enter a witness ID of another user, then check that username, select an amount of sTime, and then basically send it to that other user, giving you already a purpose or giving TimeStope already a purpose. Now currently I'm not going to do a transaction, but if we look in the history, you can see that I already did a few transactions. First of all, we see the stoping that granted me the TimeStope coins, followed by a transaction that I made to one user that had an issue with transactions in his TimeStope app. Also, we see the one time or 1 tau transaction fee that got deducted here, followed by more stoping on my side and by a user that actually sent me 1,150 tau by mistake. He pointed it out in the YouTube comments and thankfully I was able to see the comment, and you see I returned him 1,149 because I also had to pay 1 tau transaction fee. And that's pretty much how the stoping and the transaction work. Now, besides that, with the latest update, we also got an exchange added here that allows us to take sTime, so our stope time from here, or it's already selected sTime, and convert it in that case into iTime. Now, I don't know precisely yet what iTime is, but if we take a look at a document that I have about TimeStope, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys, that actually introduces the wallet, we can see mentioned here that we have our flying time, we already covered that, and then we can convert it into sTime, which is sendable time, and that time can also be converted into gameable time, which is time or tau that you can actually use in mobile games. I don't know which mobile games yet, but it will allow you to use the G time in those mobile games for in-app purchases, to purchase upgrades or whatever. So there are different time or tau tokens that serve different purposes. The most important one in my opinion is sTime, because it's the one that you can send to other users, therefore paying them for products or services if they also use TimeStope and are willing to accept TimeStope as payment. Now, the same document also explains a few other things that you saw in this video already, like how you can send transaction, how the stoping works, how the exchange works so that you can exchange your tokens and so on, and also mentions the token and tokenizing, which is something that will come in the future when TimeStope will have its own mainnet that aims to be able to handle 10 million user transactions within just 5 seconds, which would be an insane transaction speed compared to things like, for example, Bitcoin transactions, especially if the transaction fee stays at 1 tau compared to the transaction fees that we currently have to pay here and there on Bitcoin. Now, one last thing that got introduced with one of the latest updates is advertising. Now, we know ads from all other projects, and TimeStope is also using advertising now to generate revenue. Plus, on the home screen, you might have noticed the new icon in the top right that says ad, and when you click on it, you will see this screen here that allows you to play advertising, and every time you complete all the ads here, you will receive +1 attendance score. So it's another way for you to increase your attendance score, which again will increase, for example, your transfer limit, allow you to prevent your account from expiring, and eventually even increase your end time, so how long you will receive tau or time within your TimeStope account, while at the same time providing the TimeStope team with revenue that they can use to fund further development. Overall, I'm sure there are a lot of things and a lot of questions that you might have that I may have missed in this video, but I promise to provide updates along the way. In the meantime, consider either leaving a comment down in the description below, or even better, join our Discord server. There's a link to it in the description down below. And on that Discord server, you're then going to find a separate TimeStope channel where we can discuss all the questions that you still might have. Now, the last thing I want to mention in this video before I call it quits is another project that I reviewed recently. It's called Sweatcoin, and in my opinion that video and that project didn't get the attention so far that it deserved, so I'm going to put it in the card up here, and you may even see it here on the side, and you should definitely check that project out as well. It's not a cryptocurrency, but it's something that allows you to earn so-called Sweatcoin just for counting the steps on your phone, so basically for carrying your phone around, and it's definitely a great idea in my opinion. With that, thanks for watching. See you in one of my next videos. Till then, bye bye.